During course of action comparison, your goal as a member of the staff is to enable the commander to make a better informed decision. You're trying to identify the advantages and disadvantages of different courses of action that you've developed. Think, what are the benefits of this COA and what will it cost us? And here are some techniques for COA comparison. The descriptive technique. Instead of listing a numeric score for each COA, this technique relies on a few short sentences or bullets to convey advantages and disadvantages. The advantage of this is a good tool for starting dialogue, but the disadvantage, comparing advantages and disadvantages in a time-constrained environment can be difficult, which can force limited dialogue and lead to an incorrect decision. The comparison technique, based on the number of COAs that you have, each evaluation criterion receives a value from 1 to 10, with 1 being best. When all evaluation criterion are added together, the COA with the lowest value is chosen, like golf. The advantages of this is the comparison is easy to perform, but the disadvantage, the comparison can distort differences between COAs. For example, if a potential operation has 2 evaluation criteria of fuel used and casualties, comparing COAs using this technique potentially results in 1 gallon of fuel is equal to 1 casualty. So remember that. The plus or minus technique. For each evaluation criterion, instead of assigning a value, assign a plus or a minus to signify the COA is either favorable or unfavorable. Add pluses or minuses for the criteria, with a plus neutralizing a minus for an overall score. For example, 3 pluses and 2 minuses result in a score of +1. The advantage of this technique is fast, and it provides an easy way to understand the information. The disadvantage is complex evaluation criteria might be oversimplified. Now we have the relative value technique. The raw score for each evaluation criterion is assigned a relative score of 0 to 100. The worst raw score receives a 0 and the best receives a 100. The rest of the COA's raw scores receive a proportion of the score. So you add the scores together, and the highest score is the recommended COA. Advantages of this technique is it better captures the advantages and disadvantages of each evaluation criterion. But the disadvantage is the conversion to a score takes a stronger understanding of mathematics and ratios. Therefore, this technique can be difficult to use initially. And then you have the COA decision brief. This is where the staff recommends their preferred course of action to the commander. It highlights any changes to the COA resulting from the analysis, and there may be updated information from previous briefs that you have to include, like an updated IPB or facts and assumptions that have changed, like your running estimates or something. With that, we move on to step 6 of MDMP, which is the course of action decision. This step should be relatively quick in that the commander just has to decide which COA he or she wants to pursue. After this decision, the boss will issue the final planning guidance. This includes the risk they're willing to accept. And the staff will refine the commander's intent, CCIRs, EEFIs, and produce another warning order. And remember, with this warno, perfection is the enemy of good enough. In the final step of MDMP, you're going to produce the actual order. So this warno needs to be distributed with enough time to be useful and have the minimum information typically found in the 5-paragraph order. If you're in a subordinate formation and you have a million questions about this warno, just relax. Focus on what you do know because the op order is about to be published. Okay, so we're getting down to the last step of MDMP. Again, open up ATP 5-0.2-1, the Staff Reference Guide, Volume 1 is your reference for this series. And you can download that and more doctrine from the Army Publishing Directorate website at armypubs.army.mil.